Welcome to At Our Table with Jaime Harrison. Here are the ground rules. This is family talk. Straight talk with leaders, activists, and friends from across the country. You know, my grandfather used to tell me when I got back from college, I don't want to hear all that fancy talk. Speak it plain. What that means is I'm going to push our guests, but they're going to push me. Let's get to the heart of the issues. At our table, we can discuss ideas candidly. At our table, everyone is welcome. But at our table, there's no. We tell it like it is.
Jaime Harrison says at his table, there's no BS. Well, I don't know if that's true. One of his guests is former President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, who seems to be spewing quite a bit of BS on the former DNC chair's new podcast, which is titled At Our Table. I guess everyone has a podcast. I guess broadcasting isn't a skill. Anyone can do a random podcast. These politicians and political figures crack me up. Anyway, he did have a lot of charisma though, Cenk. I'm very excited to listen to this podcast.
Okay, so we're gonna get to Hunter in a second, but that would crack me up when he said, "This is for straight talk." I literally laughed out loud. This is the guy who ran the DNC. It was like, no, we're gonna limit the primaries. No one is allowed to run. It's only got to be Joe Biden. Okay. Oh, but we love democracy. We're fighting for democracy, right? I don't know anyone who does less straight talk than Jaime Harrison. Then he says, "I'm gonna push my guest, and the guest is gonna push me." As you're about to see, as you're watching it, remember that he said that because Hunter Biden's like, no one should be pushed.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, it's hilarious. It's the exact opposite. And my grandfather used to tell me, take the corporate money. Make sure you get the donor money first and then sell out your base. Please spare me the poor grandpa. He's probably a good guy. Don't bring him into this.
So look, Hunter Biden goes on the show and he has some choice words for fellow Democrats who he feels really did his father dirty. They abandoned his father. He says, quote, "We lost the last election because we did not remain loyal to the leader of the party. That's my position. We had the advantage of incumbency. We had the advantage of an incredibly successful administration, and the Democratic Party literally melted down." No. The Democratic Party kept up with the lie that your father isn't suffering from mental decline until they couldn't lie anymore. Okay, the debate was a mask off moment for the Biden administration, for the Biden campaign specifically. So, I mean, it's demanding loyalty, politicians demanding loyalty is one of the most disgusting things in a democratic country like the United States. No. You're accountable to the American people. Biden and all of his supporters, in the political realm. I'm not talking about voters. I think a lot of voters, unfortunately, were lied to and believed the lie. But all those people providing cover for Biden in the administration, those close to Biden, the Democratic establishment, they thought we were all idiots. They lied to Democratic voters and they created this mess. And the benefit of incumbency is wiped away when the incumbent has a brain that's melting, okay, and cannot serve as the leader of this country as a result. Yeah. I mean, I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of partisan hackery more than anything. No, you lied to your voters, you should be called out. And that's what happened here. Okay, the Biden campaign lied to the American people and created the mess that we're currently in. And they just refuse to take any ownership for it.
Yeah, so hilarious stuff and serious stuff. First, the funny stuff. So basically what Hunter is saying is we should have been a cult. We should have followed the leader. And it doesn't matter if the leader has lost his mind and can't speak. You should still follow him because I demand that the Democrats be a cult. Well, okay, yeah, but why? Oh, because we have to defeat Trump because all of his followers are in a cult. Okay, so these guys are egomaniac lunatics, and Hunter Biden in his own bubble, and I'm sure him and Jill Biden get together every day, put Joe in a corner somewhere, and he's drooling and go, help him out with his drool, and then they go back to the kitchen table and they're like, we would have won, right? Yeah, we still would have been president, right? Can I go serious? Shut up. We would have been president, right, Jill? You take foreign policy, I take domestic policy. We had it, right? A bunch of egomaniacs. All right, so now to the substance. So he says we had an incumbency advantage. There's two parts to this. One is what Anna mentioned there. There's a debate I had with Alan Lichtman. And I'm like, okay, an incumbent in a normal non-presidential race does have a huge advantage. Okay, but what if the incumbent says we defeated Medicare in a debate and we don't know what the hell he's talking about and he can't finish a single sentence and says his uncle was eaten by cannibals and shakes hands with invisible people? And Alan Lichtman was like, nope, he still has 7 of the keys and he's gonna win. Okay, so, but the second part is maybe more important. They're actually amateurs when it comes to politics. They don't understand politics. They just talk in simple things like, oh, incumbents always have an advantage. No, that's not true. Incumbents have an advantage in races that get very little media attention, because then their donor money allows them to buy the ads, and that's the only thing the voters see. And the press says, oh, he's the incumbent, he's the front runner, et cetera. So huge advantage in those races. But in a presidential race, there's enormous media attention to it. So incumbency often winds up being an albatross around your neck because you have to defend all of your policies. Why did Biden beat Trump the first time but was getting clowned in the polling the second time? Because the first time Trump was the incumbent and he had to explain what went wrong in COVID and all what went wrong in so many other things. The second time around, Biden had to explain what went wrong in his term. It wound up being a disadvantage. But secondly, and this is the most important about when you're trying to understand the power or the advantage or the disadvantage of incumbency. When an incumbent is in the 40s, so they're under 50%, they almost always lose. Now, any professional in politics knows that. Biden was in the mid 30s. It almost never happened for an incumbent to win when they're in the 30s. So incumbency was actually a massive disadvantage in this case. But honestly, the people on TV that cover politics, and yes, in this case, a lot of the text reporters, New York Times, Washington Post, et cetera, they barely know anything about politics. So if you explain to them that concept, they're like, oh, the text guys might be like, oh yeah, but they never wrote a single article about it. The guys on TV will be like, what are you talking about? No, incumbent, good, right? And so that's what he's appealing to here, the knuckleheads on TV. But brother, by the way, you lost a war already. Who are you? Without daddy, you're the most irrelevant dude in America.
Go away. Like I honestly, I'm sure, like what Hunter Biden's trying to do with this, appearance on this podcast is rewrite history. So, the Biden campaign doesn't look as terrible and the Democratic Party doesn't look as terrible as they were and currently are in this massive cover up. He's like, oh, people are pretending like it was a conspiracy to cover up my father's mental decline. Yeah, because it was. There were signs of mental decline dating back to 2020 when he was first running for his first term. And so it's not that difficult. Don't lie to voters, because once they realize they're being lied to, they're unhappy about it. And what's particularly gross, Cenk, is that after that debate performance by Biden, he insisted on remaining in the race for another month. Okay, the charade was up. And so any possibility of beating Trump was destroyed by the terrible, selfish decisions of the Biden campaign. And you can't rewrite that history. So instead of trying to rewrite it, just go away. Yeah. Give the Democratic Party an opportunity to heal its reputation. But they can't let it go.
Yeah, or get in the ring. Run, see how that turns out for you. Okay?
No, please don't do that.
Okay, no, it would be hilarious. I can't imagine you'd get more than 2%. But he's gonna need a new gig, Anna, because you remember, of course, how he was a Ukrainian gas expert turned modern artist. And when Daddy was running, he was selling his junk paintings for $500,000 and people were buying it. Since Biden lost, you wanna guess how many paintings Hunter Biden has sold? All of a sudden, the great modern artist has sold 0 paintings.
What a surprise. Yeah. Anyway, there you have it. That does it for today's show.
Modern artist. Get the out of here. I know politics. Daddy would have won if those rascally kids hadn't interfered. Okay. All right, guys, we gotta go. You crazy dog, we'll come back and do it again. Have more fun. Okay, fun. You ready?
Fun.
Boy.
Bye-bye.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.